plan 嘅話，最後結果一定唔會係一個人 plan 晒咯。
同埋即係我覺得有時候呢個女仔嬲嘅位就係個男仔，即係雖然佢冇睇到行程啦，但係
最初入行係基本上係當係一份暑期工嘅工作去入行嘅，就基本上係喺以前個年代，即係我啱17、18歲嗰段時間啦。有一年放暑假，因為係放暑假啦，咁我爸爸就做霓虹燈呢個安裝嘅工作嘅。咁佢就話不如試下去做呢個暑期工啦，咁樣咁就帶咗我去做嘢嗰間公司嗰度入咗做呢個霓虹燈嘅公司裏邊。咁就因為嗰陣時嘅年青人接觸呢行少，年青人做呢一行啊，當其時個老闆係好想我哋呢啲年青嘅人咧就去做呢個工作。嗰個年代40年前，學識一門手藝咧，其實係都幾好嘅收入嘅，可以咁樣就從嗰個暑期工就開始咗做呢個霓虹燈嘅工作。
我其實本身係一個設計師嚟嘅，一個多媒體設計師。咁其實我係一個半途出家，學咗我諗5、6年霓虹燈，再將佢我諗就做好多唔同嘅創作，唔同嘅設計，咁有唔同品牌嘅合作。咁呢個係我點樣開始做霓虹燈嘅經歷。咁係因為霓虹燈係首先好吸引我。當我見到佢嘅光嘅時候，我諗我俾佢吸引住，咁所以同時我覺得佢同其他光嘅媒介好唔同。咁慢慢我對佢嘅興趣同埋研究多咗嘅時候，我發現佢係唔係淨係一種普通嘅光，佢係有一種好多背後嘅理論喺度。咁令到我更加好吸引，去想知道更加多霓虹燈。咁我就慢慢開始去學習用呢一個媒介去做我嘅創作。
So we founded Streetside HK in 2017. We started as a kind of advisory consultation on the signboard regulation at the very beginning, and also try to promote the culture to the general public.
So our aim is not only to look back, to be nostalgic of the disappearing sign in Hong Kong, but also forward-looking to try to explore and see what are the possibilities for neon and also signboard culture in Hong Kong.
Same as many of the biggest cities in the world, we had neon signs since the 1920s. So we had the kind of peak and heyday of neon after the war, and we got the most kind of quantity of signs in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
香港霓虹燈犀利，首先有一個先決條件就係香港地方細。地方細嘅時候呢，所有商鋪都會集中咗喺某個呢個區份嘅時候呢，大家都要做霓虹燈嘅時候，就變咗大家即係好似有五光十色嘅招牌擺喺度。再加上就係香港個電影業喺當其時係非常之好嘅，譬如王家衛嗰啲叫做咩重慶森林啊，帶到去外國，俾外國嘅人見到香港個就係咁多哇啲招牌。
因為香港嘅霓虹燈啦，其實係伴隨住我哋香港人一齊成長，所以佢哋都係其實好代表到香港，即係好多時候都係覺得香港霓虹燈同香港呢個地方係有個好強烈嘅掛鈎喺度。 以佢係一個好夜晚好似一個好容易就會見到會 catch 到我哋嘅一個招牌。咁嗰時候都係就會提起個地方就會睇個招牌。咁所以好多時候都係大家嘅回憶。係一個香港好重要嘅一個，唔係淨係一個招牌，其實係一個文化嚟嘅。
Before 2010, there's no like comprehensive regulation on what you need to do to apply for before you do a neon sign. But then in 2010, there's a new building regulation that got introduced, which make all the signs that were built before as illegal structures. So the authorities could issue demolition orders to the shops. Even they've been using the signs for decades, nothing is happening, all is safe. They will have to take down the sign eventually.
嗰個條例出現其實可能係一種好多人嘅錯覺，因為喺嗰條例出現之前咧，喺彌敦道有個招牌好似跌咗一半落嚟咁樣。佢嗰個招牌會跌落嚟，其實係因為當其時施工嘅人搞錯咗，要拆嘅唔係拆嗰個招牌，係拆另外一個招牌，就剪咗一條好主要嘅。只係剪咗幾條好主要嘅鐵線啦，咁就令導致個招牌跌咗落嚟。呢個情況係未出現過嘅。咁當然可能政府見到咁多個戶外嘅招牌伸咗出嚟，日久失修啦，咁點都有啲危險性嘅，咁就開始管制下，將嗰個招牌條例。
So with that, within like 5-6 years since the regulation introduced, signs are starting to disappear in Hong Kong, and in these few years, I think like 90% of neon signs are gone in Hong Kong.
同時間 LED 嘅出現，令到霓虹燈招牌嗰個需求都少咗好多啦。首先要講嘅就係霓虹燈出嚟嗰個光嗰個質素，其實係比我認為比 LED 係更加好。先霓虹燈佢係透過玻璃去360度發光㗎啦，咁佢出嚟嗰個光嗰個透過玻璃佢嗰種散射，望落去更加柔和、更加舒服嘅。
係咯，各有各嘅特色咯。霓虹燈就係手工線條柔和嘅燈光啦，霓虹燈就係變化、變顏色或者係好細微嘅地方，你都可以見到一啲燈光出嚟，因為係 LED 係好細粒嘅啫嘛，而霓虹燈最幼都6-7個 mm 直徑嘅燈管出嚟，唔會再細得去邊嘅。咁係呢啲分別咯。其實你又要真係要再去優勝各樣性嘢，好難分嘅，係兩樣嘢嚟嘅。
首先做霓虹燈，我哋會有一般我哋會有個設計，有個藍圖。咁我哋會 base on 嗰個設計圖去做一啲用玻璃去燒製唔同嘅形狀啦。咁我哋做好咗個玻璃嗰個燈管嘅時候，咁我哋就會將佢連接一個叫做燈頭一個電極嘅一個裝置。做一個叫做衝擊嘅過程，令到燈管去真空，令到佢個燈管入面係乾淨，完全係得返一個好 pure 嘅 neon 或者一個 pure 嘅 argon 純氬氣或者純氖氣，再將佢哋封口啦，咁個燈管就會得返一個純氬氣同純氖氣喺度。咁我哋接電呢，本身個燈管就會發光㗎喇。咁大概嗰個程序就係咁樣。燒玻璃係最療癒、最好玩，同埋好似當燒玻璃嘅時候，我個感覺就係我就存在喺個火同埋個玻璃中間。
當 當一個設計師佢想到一樣嘢啦，我能夠做到佢個嘢出嚟，咁呢個都幾特別幾好玩咯，同埋係或者係有時間自己去諗一啲嘢出嚟，去做出嚟，做完出嚟自己都會覺得幾靚嘅時候，咁嗰個好玩就係喺嗰度咯。
香港係一個好急速嘅一個城市，一個變化好快嘅一個城市，步伐好快，好多人都唔好忽略身邊嘅嘢，尤其是大眾啦，為咗生活其實都唔係好了解香港嘅文化。咁其實作為一個 artist， 我哋要或者係一啲保育嘅機構啦，我哋透過唔同嘅平台嘅渠道去繼續宣揚。
因為而家就商戶都會有，但係如果我佔個比例咧，可能係一啲年輕嘅藝術家啊、設計師啊，或者係一啲私人用途嘅較為多啲咯。私人用途嘅即係例如去做完禮擺屋企或者送俾朋友嘅嗰啲咪多啲。了解當其時啲人都唔係好了解呢個霓虹燈係點樣整出嚟，咁而家啲人開始多了解咗霓虹燈係點樣做出嚟嘅時候咧，佢哋會發覺手工其實亦都係一個好主要嘅部分咯。
I think in general the function of neon signs has been changing.
Back in the old days when people start a business, they would envision they would stay in a shop in a location for decades. So they would spend more capital to build a bigger neon sign. And then these days the rents are like fluctuating and people may envision they will be moving to another location in 2 or 5 years. So they might not spend that much on like permanent fixtures like neon sign, but then invest into making like smaller ones that they could put in behind shop windows or in the interiors.
係咁講啦，如果你話好想人去保育，其實保育最緊要一樣嘢就係而家做緊霓虹燈嘅師傅，盡量去將佢每一件嘅作品做得好，做得靚。
Something with a lot of possibility that people should reconsider and seeing it as a tool for the future as well.
我覺得佢係可以走得更加遠嘅，喺未來去有更加多嘅可能性。只要有一班熱愛香港嘅人，同時間佢哋都會熱愛香港霓虹燈。